The coach straight up, like, that's not how we operate here. He told me about the academics, he told me about the athletics, and what they do for their athletes. Clean, cut, straight. And that's why that was my pick. So then we get back to Monroe.
Right.
Now, Monroe's gonna shut you back down. So he's like, Mama, I mean, I know I picked that school, but I kind of want to go with my dad and this and that and this and that. So then the coaches are calling us, and they're like, hey, you know, we really, you know, whatever.
Right.
I'm like, okay. So Byron, you got a decision to make. I said, if I get this job, it's in the bag for me. But he was like, well, I don't want to leave my daddy. I don't want to leave my daddy. So I'm like, all right, if I get the job, whether you want to leave your daddy or not, I'm out.
Right.
I'm going to Dallas, buddy. And so I ended up getting a job, and he went home. I was like, hey, let's just tell your dad together. And as a parent, that was like the hardest thing I had to do.
Wow.
Because he didn't have a perfect father by any means. But just to see him and his dad, and that we're going to pull them apart, and the hugs, the love, the tears.
Right.
Like, I literally had to pull apart and go to my friends, and I'm like, am I doing the wrong thing? Like, literally. Am I doing the wrong thing? So now we like, school about to start. So then we come to Dallas. We stay in a hotel the first week of fall camp while they working out. They working out like 2 times a day. We getting enrolled in school, me and Byron in the hotel. And I'm like, God, look, I know you told us to make this move, so I'm gonna need you to make a move for me.
You can cut out that other.
Yeah. Run it up, Blondo. Run it up, Blondo.
Welcome back to Projects of the Balance. I'm Byron Washington. Here with my mom, Brittany Lewis, and my cousin, Roosevelt May. And we're about to talk about my upbringing and to my football career.
I tell you what, thank you. That was outstanding. You know, Byron, you know, we had some fun in the last episode. You know, we talked about a lot of things. You know, we're just going to jump right in. When did you start playing football?
I was about 7 years old.
7 years old?
Yeah.
So, from, well, I call it Fun Row, right? Fun Row, Louisiana. I'm sure they don't call it Fun Row no more, do they?
No, not it's called Gun Row, Louisiana.
Why they call it Gun Row?
The violence was just up so high. I think one year we were higher than Memphis on the murder rate, but it's a lot calmer now.
So, how did you survive all that? I mean, it was a pretty calm place when I lived there 30, 40 years ago. How did you survive that?
Couldn't go nowhere.
I was stuck in that square, really. And when I was about 7, I started playing football. I started off on flag football.
Yes.
And I probably played about 4 games before I got kicked out of the league. I was a bully. I tackled people, threw people on their heads, stuff like that. So that's how it all began. And then about 4 or 5 months later, I teamed up with my longtime friends now. Got at the Monroe City Dogs, 8U. And just then, at first, it's like outside the patch, you can be as tough as you want. But once you get hit that first time, it's going to scare the mess out of you. So when I got hit, at first I started off, I was just soft, I was just there. And it just took me lining up against my cousin, Steven. He was he was a varsity football player, and I was 8 years old lining up against him. And he, just getting hit every time. And so probably took me about a week. After that week of just going against him being tough, oh, it was on. I was hitting everybody and their mom.
Wow.
Yeah. Including your mom.
Yeah.
You know, after Little League, you played 7th grade football. You know, what happened?
That big jump, all those years off, 7th grade, my head coach was Coach Mack, a former, what can I call him? Like a former Army soldier.
Yes.
So he came with a lot of discipline and just I wouldn't say that I wasn't used to discipline, but just the way he taught us like we were going into the Army.
Sure.
So it was a little tough at first, but you could tell he really cared for us. And just 7th grade year, ball running right behind Byron. Byron, step and run off the ball. That's all I was taught. So I wouldn't say really that I knew the real movements and mechanics behind football. I just knew to destroy the person in front of me.
So you think the coach that was tough?
Yes.
Do you think he added any value to your life or your game even today?
He definitely did, knowing my mom, she's not really a yeller, and she's more of a calm, talking person
I am not.
until
You make me mad.
until I get her mad.
Yes.
She's more, but him, it was like he was a little like riled up about everything, talking like his normal talk was riled up. So it kind of just made me. I wouldn't say that it just made. I can say that it made me respect him more. Like he got my attention right away, right then and there, and he just made me a value because he never talked about my time there. He talked about how I'm gonna be an NFL star.
Wow. And you were how old?
12.
Wow. He was talking about NFL at 12 years old.
Yes, I was 6'2", about 280.
So at 12 you were 6'2", 280. How about your height and weight today again?
6'7", 370 pounds.
Wow. What size shoe you wear?
17.
So you'll probably get to 20, right?
Hopefully, I hope I'm done.
No, you're not done. You're not done. You're not done. You said, what do you say about his socks?
He's just gonna be walking around in socks.
Right. Well, let's talk about growth spurt. Growth spurt and surgeries.
I started growing. I was still in California actually when I could feel the difference in my legs. I was a lot more sore than usual. Just I didn't play football down there.
Okay.
I played AAU. I was a point guard.
Okay.
So
you were a point guard.
yeah, I ran my team. Even though I was the biggest person. It was just like, this is my team. I'm gonna play whatever I want, and y'all not getting the ball.
Right.
So most of the game, the highest I ever scored was 50 by myself.
Right.
So I just took over that team, and nobody could stop me in that league. I wouldn't say I was selfish, but I just knew we needed to win.
Right.
And y'all missing shots is not gonna help us win. So I just put the team on my back and did whatever I did.
So you were like, people say Kobe Bryant was a ball hog.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, took too many shots. So you think you fit in that category?
I didn't take.
Yes, at that time, yes. Like I just stopped going to the game. That's when you met Mr. Travis.
Yeah. I met a good family out there as well while playing basketball.
Okay.
They helped me so much, just life, the Christ, all that. They just helped me. And they took me to my games and watched me play. Most of the time, my mom would just get done working the shift, so they'll just come with me to my basketball game. And they loved me, I loved them, and they was my biggest supporters.
So do you stay in contact with them today?
Yes, most definitely. They
Yes.
call holidays. I'll be making it down to Cali pretty soon to see them now.
Wow. How about the camps? Camps with Dom. Talk about that.
After, let me take it back a little. After my growth spurts and stuff happened, I was in pain 7th grade year. So 7th grade, I started noticing during quarantine, like my legs were getting weaker, and I ended up getting X-rays, and come to find out my growth plates was collapsing. So I had to rush down to New Orleans to have surgeries, get plates put in my legs to support my big frame. And so from 7th grade to 8th grade, I was completely out. It was just nothing but rehabbing. So 7th and 8th grade year was just strictly getting healthy. And so fresh out of 8th grade was the camps with Dom.
Okay.
My
I
cousin.
don't think we just skip over 7th grade. I think that was that's not something we just skip over. So he went from 5'2" to 6'2" to 6'8" in less than a year.
Wow.
And this was during COVID.
Right.
So I was in New York working. And the orthopedic team called me and they said, well, hey, we need to do this surgery within the next 2 weeks before the growth plates in his legs actually collapse because they can't support his frame anymore. So I ended my assignment, came back. We went to Children's in New Orleans, had the surgery. So he got the plates in his legs and in his ankles. This was supposed to be a complete, outpatient surgery. But because of his frame, they've never seen a kid of his size. It ended up being, he was supposed to be up and walking within, 3 days? But instead,
No, the next day.
Oh, the next day. Instead, it took us about 3 months to get back out of the bed. He was in a wheelchair, then walker. He went from wheelchair to walker to crutches before he could walk independently again. So that was a really rough time for us. This was during your 8th grade year. And he kind of he had to go to football practice, I think in a wheelchair, or was it on a walker?
Walker.
Yeah, he had to go back to football practice on a walker.
Wow.
And he kind of came home I don't want to play sports anymore. Because what 8th grade kid wants to be seen on a walker?
Right.
So when he came back home, he was kind of done with football because I don't want to be seen on a walker.
Sure.
So we rehab every day at home. We're walking. Me and him are fighting every day because, of course, it hurts.
Sure.
And I'm like the general. No,
Right.
You need to get up. You're going to walk.
Right.
I can't carry you.
Right.
We're going back and forth. So it's just a very rocky time as far as him and his legs and all of that goes. Thank God today we're fine. All of that straightened out for us. He had the metal removed. Both legs are straight. But that was just a bump in the road as far as his health.
Wow. So as far as long-term effects, there's no long-term effects as it relates to that particular, those surgeries?
No.
Okay.
It was just to get the bone in the place to straighten up.
Sure. Right. Well, you met two men in Houston that they helped you set up a Twitter account.
Yes. So after doing the camps with my cousin, I was getting killed. I was fighting my hardest, but it just wasn't no stopping them boys. They was coming off that ball. I was getting pushed out the way.
Cut you off. How long ago was this?
About 2 years.
2 years ago you met this, around this, okay, all right.
So
The camp with Dom, right?
Yeah, I was getting pushed around. And my mom, she's like, we can go if you want to. But in my head, I'm here around all these 4- and 5-star guys. I'm like, I'm right here with y'all. I don't care, even though I'm in the 8th grade, going to my 9th grade year.
Right.
I was like, I'm here with y'all. So I probably lost 10 reps and won 1. So that 1 rep that I won, it was over with. I was hyped. So then it was against a big-time defensive tackle. So that day, it kind of showed me, okay, this is Monroe good. I'm Monroe good. But can I be nationally good? So we left that day. My mom, she kind of wanted to get my mind off of it because I was still thinking. So we headed to Houston to go shopping.
Okay.
And while we were in Houston, these two men, who you play football for? What college you go to? I was like, no, I'm not even a freshman yet. And so they was like, where your mom at? We came over, we chopped it up. They was like, we need to make you a Twitter account ASAP so these colleges can know who you are. And I have a camp in Florida coming up. It's a big showcase, and you're invited.
Wow.
Yep. Coach Corey and Stephon set up a Twitter account for him. They took a picture with him, and we went to this camp. It's called The Show, right?
Yes.
In Florida. And so again, we went to the show. Everybody is like, oh, this big old kid. But again, we go out to the show. I mean, he did okay, but as a parent, I'm like, because of course, again, everybody sees this big kid, so there's already this big expectation. So they think, oh, he's supposed to kill everybody. He's supposed to be mean.
Right.
Not knowing he's never really played skilled football.
Right.
All he's ever known is to, hey, get somebody out of the way. And so he's out there, like, with him, and I'm still, like, pulling him to the side, like, hey, Byron, we can leave if you want to. Like, these people don't know us. Like,
right.
Let's go. And he's like, no, mama, no. And so he started getting on the end at tackle, and I'm like, Byron, you would never be a tackle. Like, you're a big guy. Get at guard.
Right.
They can't, like, you'll clog the hole. And so he's like, nope. I'm getting out here because I want to be a tackle one day. I'm getting out here. I don't care if they keep beating me. And I'm like, dude, it's hot. Like, we can really go. I'm hungry. He's like, nope, I'm not doing it.
Wow.
And so they had, like, this little drill where they pick up, like, what's the bag? The boxing bag. And so everybody else is dragging it to get from point A to B. This kid goes and pick up the boxing bag and throws it over his back. And everybody's like,
it's 100 pounds.
What? And he goes from like A to B with the bag on his back and like beats out the other kids. And that's like, how old is he? I'm like, he's about to be 13. And from there, his name was like just kind of all over the camp.
Right.
And of course, everywhere we walk, like the ex-NFL players, all these people want to talk to him, like, you know, about his potential and what he could do. And of course, everybody wants to talk to me, like, where do y'all live? And at this time, we don't have a home. Because I always told him, like, when you get into high school, I'm going to find a job somewhere and I'll settle down and we'll plant somewhere. Whether it's Monroe, which that wasn't my choice, but I told him that.
Right.
We'll just get somewhere and we'll settle. My pick was California, but I know he hated California.
Right.
So we were still just kind of fishing around for somewhere to go. So we were leaving that camp. Was it like 3 days?
It was about a 2.5 day camp. You left on that half a day, and it was a big challenge. Whoever had the best reps, you made to the top 10. You go against the best people around the camp, and you get a big belt that has a show. And man, I was in the pool. I said, I'm gonna get that belt. It was just something about the diamonds on there. I wanted that belt.
Right.
I didn't care how I was gonna get it, but I said I want that. But I ended up making it to the top 10. I dominated my way through there. And I say, my last rep, I was going against this I'm big, but this dude, he was just a different type of big. He was like one of them D-linemen. Well, I can't say now that I couldn't stop, but then I couldn't stop him. But I could just get in front of him, so it'll be a play where me and him both go against each other.
Right.
We both fall down. But he penetrated the pocket, so he won. So I lost that rep, and I could just look up, and I seen the owner of the camp. He was happy. He was like, good job. But I was like, man, I just lost my rank. So then the rest of it, I just stood to the side, and I just watched everybody else go into 2 winners. I told them congrats. And me walking out to go meet my mom, I met an offensive line coach by the name of Logan Tillman. And I met him at the end of the camp. He said, what's up, big fella? He's like, what's your name? Where you from? I said, I'm Byron, Washington. I'm from Louisiana. He said, and I told him, I said, and I'm about to move to Dallas. She ain't even know I wanted to go to Texas yet, but I said, I'm about to move to Dallas.
Right.
I said it right there and there. Because after that camp, I knew this is what I wanted to be. So then he went to the car and go meet my mom. Ended up the next day meeting him. We went to go work out with the Buccaneers offensive line. We're in Florida, so we...
Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You worked out with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line?
Brad Seaton, the right and left tackle.
Wow.
Yep.
And we went up there to a facility not too far away from Tampa.
Okay.
And man, I don't know nothing about no pass set, no jump set, no vertical set. I don't know nothing. And it's probably a blur to you viewers, but it's different angles that offensive linemen go on. I didn't know anything about it, and he just doing it so smoothly. I'm going off his lead. I'm looking just like him, and I was confident, so I didn't care. I went out there, did the workout video. He recorded every video, but that one, after the workout, we talked. He said, when you get to the league, when you get to the league, you're going to have this kind of playbook. And the playbook was a blur. And now I can memorize every other. All types of counter, pulling, skip pull, all that. I understand it now. He elevated my game.
Wow. You mentioned a minute ago about, saying that you're going to Dallas, being from Monroe, fun row, gun row, right?
Yeah.
How do you go from Dallas to Monroe to play football? Why not stay at Carroll or Richwood or the high schools in Washita, West Monroe, right? I mean, West Monroe had a powerhouse back when I was growing up as a kid. Why not stay in the area that you grew up? How did you guys transition?
To me, I was comfortable. I was too comfortable there. I just felt too at home, and I knew that after that camp, if I stay where I'm at, I'm Monroe good. Like I told you, if I would have known everybody keep telling me, "Oh, you're a good player," this and that, I know I probably would never be the I can't say good player now, but the improving player that I am now. If I would have stayed there, none of this would have happened. So I knew it wasn't. I didn't need to stay there at all.
I don't know if you know, but Bill Russell's from Monroe, right? There's a lot of, Sammy White, he was a wide receiver in the 80s with the Minnesota Vikings. There's a lot of unbelievable players, NBA and NFL players. So, in your mind, you believe that you had to get outside of the element to be challenged on another level?
Yes.
For greatness? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
So, so your coaches and the people that you surrounded yourself with, or naturally you were surrounded with in Monroe, were probably people that maybe you knew?
Yeah, my dad was my head coach.
Okay.
To this day, he really don't know why I truly left. He thinks my mom just got a new job and it was time to go. But I truly left because I didn't feel like I didn't want to be the coach's son. Like, your daddy this, your daddy the only reason you playing. I didn't want that at all. So taking all these camp tours, coming into Dallas, working out with Coach Logan, hearing about different schools around the area, just analyzing different schools. I just knew, like, if I come down here, I'm going to be a different player, and I don't have to have that, your daddy this, oh, you little tank, this and that. You only good because your daddy this. When I knew if I left, that would just make me solo, and I wanted to be challenged. I didn't want this guy handed to you because you tank, son.
Let me ask you this. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, and for me as a parent, it wasn't an easy thing to, make the decision, because I did ask Byron. It was always in the plan, but I also gave him the option. I kind of put it like, Byron, I won't be the happiest, but I'll kind of suffer for you.
Yes.
If Monroe is where you want to stay.
Right.
But I also saw another side of my kid when it came to football. Because I did sit down with his dad prior to, and I asked him, like, what's your plan for my son in football? Because there was a hunger in Byron after these camps, and he saw all of these players. Like, we didn't know anything about stars and 4-star and 5-star and elite and all these camps. I didn't know. Byron taught me this stuff.
Right.
And when we met other people, we learned about these things.
Sure.
And so when I went to his dad and I asked him, you know, what was your plan for my son? He just gave me a mediocre answer, like, you know, well, he's going to play freshman football, and if he's good enough, he'll play varsity. If he's good enough, this is your son. You play for Ole Miss, a SEC school. If he's good enough, prepare him to be good enough.
Wow.
If you're not going to prepare him to be good enough, I'll put him in a position where people will prepare him to be good enough. And that's what we did. So once I saw this hunger in my child, I asked him straight up, and he told me, like, Mama, this is what I want to be. And there are very few things in life that Byron has said out of his mouth or prayed about that he has not gotten. From his legs straightening up, there's only one of his legs that he had metal removed out of. The other leg, he spoke and prayed, and it straightened up.
Wow.
So there's nothing that Byron says out of his mouth that doesn't come forth. So the things that he said and he's laid out for himself, all the way down to the football offers that he just got.
Right.
He waited, he put in the work, and he was patient, and it has happened for him.